Hi everyone, Jen here with the next in my series, All Roads Lead to Betsy, and I just read the book For a Lifetime by Gabrielle Meyer, which is the third book in her Timeless series, a story of girls with the gift of time travel. And in this case, it's two girls, twin sisters, Faith and Hope. And it's a very engaging premise. I loved the first book a lot. This one I crazy loved, partly because of the time periods that the girls go back and forth between. One is 1912 New York City, and one of the sisters is getting very interested in becoming a pilot. And I don't remember exactly the years that Amelia Earhart was piloting, but I just remember being so fascinated by Amelia Earhart when I was a kid. And it's just a really fun time period to read about. But the other one was 1692, literally in Salem, Massachusetts. And oh man, did that keep me turning the pages. Gabrielle, amped up the suspense and the drama of that horrible period in our country's history. I had no idea what was going to happen. It was extremely exciting and satisfying. And I don't want to say two more because, I don't want to give anything away. These are twisty books. But anyway, I love it. I can't recommend this book highly enough. I'm enjoying the series a lot so far. I met Gabrielle Meyer rather recently because she was a guest at our November Writers Lounge, and she's absolutely a delight. And I'm going to be interviewing her for a future Betsy-Tacy newsletter, which I'm really looking forward to. This book is under the genre, or found in the genre of Christian fiction, and it's my first time, well actually that's not true, but it's my first time as an adult consciously reading Christian fiction. I actually read quite a bit of it when I was young, I'm remembering. And I just wasn't sure, and I was kind of bracing myself for the possibility of some, kind of in-your-face proselytizing, and I just need to assure readers that that is not what it is at all. These girls love and trust in God. They have a strong faith practice. They, care deeply about their religion. And every one of those things is true of our heroine, Betsy Ray. The one thing I'm going to talk to Gabriel about, where it sort of differs from what I personally believe, is about the very, very detailedness of what these characters take to be God's plan. Like everything happens according to God's plan, and we just need to trust because God has a plan for us. I'm like, okay, I would love to talk to her a little bit more about that, because I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, how do I know for sure? How does anyone know for sure? It's slightly different from what I believe, but it was really, really interesting for me to think about. And that's what this book did. This book made me think about what I believe, what my own faith practices are, how I personally find comfort in God, and what my relationship to God is. And I think these are all legit and fascinating questions when you're reading any book. And I think it's probably not going to surprise you that the Betsy-Tacy book I immediately saw a connection to is this one, Heaven to Betsy. Betsy is a person of faith, and her faith and her religion are important to her from the very first book in the series and are part of, every book. The girls all go to church. Betsy goes to the Baptist church with her family. Tacy goes to a Catholic church. Tib goes to the Episcopalian church. The friend that Betsy's going to make in this book is Presbyterian. She does not have a Jewish friend, and the Syrian community that is settled in Deep Valley is Christian, not Muslim. So there's not a ton of religious diversity, but there's a little bit in this book, and Betsy goes to church with her family, like many of us did as children. It doesn't even occur to her to question, why are we Baptist? Why do we go to the Baptist church? In fact, there's a strong personal family connection to the Baptist church because her grandmother, her dad's mom, was the person who started it, who raised the money and got the building built and found the minister and all of that. But in this book, Betsy's sister, who's a trained singer, and as is Betsy, is invited to join the choir at the Episcopalian church. They needed voices, which is funny because that's something that also happened with my son in college. A trained singer was invited, in fact paid, to sing in the local Episcopalian church. So that is something that happens. But while the girls start attending that church, they fall in love with that religion and the ritual of it and realize that they're not Baptists. They are Episcopalians. And I do remember my friend Carla, who was Jewish, saying, okay, so the big conflict in this book is they're going to switch from one Protestant religion to another Protestant religion, which is pretty funny when you think about it. But it is a big deal. It's a very big deal. They don't want to disappoint their father. They don't want to upset their family. And so this chapter, the talk with Mr. Ray, where they come out to their dad as Episcopalians, is a really important and gorgeously written chapter. And many of us name it as one of our favorites in the entire series because of the Ray parents' really, really stunningly beautiful response to their daughters, which is that we're happy that you're giving some thought to religion. And this is exactly what you should do at your age. It's what we did at our age. And if this is the religion that speaks to you, that's the most important thing. And if you're going to be Episcopalians, you have to be good Episcopalians. And then Mr. Ray goes on to describe what it means to be a member of a church and outlines just the most perfect description of what is required of you. That is still relevant in 2025. It's absolutely perfect. I wrote it up in one of my church newsletters, in fact, a couple of months ago. And that whole thing of you need to find the religion that is right for you is absolutely the tenet of my personal faith. I am a Christian, but I also go to a Unitarian Universalist church, and I believe that there are many paths to God, and each person must find their own. And so it was nice. It's nice to see that reflected in Heaven to Betsy. And, in other ways, in For a Lifetime. These are two very independent girls. Certainly not sitting around saying, God, what should I do next? So I don't mean to make it sound when they talk about God's plan that they're passive in any way. They're not. They're extremely active, very different and distinct from each other, and utterly delightful characters. So I think they're a wonderful paired reading. Highly recommend both. And I'm looking forward to reading more Gabrielle Meyer. All right, that's it from me.